All right, we are starting Module 5, Lesson 1. In this lesson, we're going to start with we're going to clone this new module, Demo 5 start. Then we're going to create a new database right off of our new dashboard. We're going to go to Heroku dashboard and create a new application and create a new database. And we're going to do 3 tables this time. And we're going to set up the blueprints, and we're going to build out some HTML templates. So let's get started. I'm going to start by grabbing the link for this actual GitHub. Okay, that's a public GitHub, and I'm going to clone a repository. So I'm going to paste that in here, and I'm going to, instead of keeping the same one, I'm going to call it CBIS 4210 underscore mod 5 underscore Marshall demo. All right, and we're going to click clone. We're going to trust the project, and we will see that it starts to do a lot of work. So we're going to click yes, and I'm going to make this small so it will fit in here just right. All right, and we will bring it over here. Have it fit in this like so. Okay, good. All right, so the first thing I want to do is add the interpreter. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to add new interpreter. I'll make this bigger. I look and I check to make sure things are right. 3.12 is perfectly fine. And I check to make sure this is right. And that's the folder that the virtual environment is going to go into. So I click OK. It creates the virtual environment. Okay. That's great. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make sure everything is right where it's supposed to be. It looks great. So I'm going to take my virtual environment terminal. I'm going to do a pip install -r requirements. And that should install everything that's inside this requirements document that we've used so far. Okay. And when that gets finished, looks like it's all finished, we are going to come up here and we're going to go to Git, and we're going to manage the remotes, and I'm going to remove the start remote. Okay. So now we do not have a remote anymore. Okay. And now I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to go to Git, and I'm going to GitHub. I'm going to share the project on GitHub. For me, the project is going to stay just like this, and it's going to stay private. So I'm going to click share, and it's pushing everything out to GitHub right now, and it says it's been successfully pushed out there. So I'm going to drag it over here so we could see it. All right. And what I'd like to do is grab the dashboard for Heroku. I'm going to put that right here, and I'm going to create a new one. So new, create new app. And I'm going to call this one CBIS 4210 mod 5 Marshall demo. I'm going to create that app just like that. And right away, I'm going to go into resources, and I'm going to create a new table. Okay. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go JAWS, and I want to pick the one that's MySQL. And of course, I want the one that's free. They're going to be so mad that we have so many of these. That's okay. We'll delete all this stuff when we're done. It's going to be fun. All right. So we have that being built. That's fine. So actually it is built. So I'm just going to open that up right here. So we'll have our copy of our stuff. Now we're going to go into deploy. Okay. I'm going to pick GitHub, and I'm going to put, this is demo. So I'm going to click search, and it's going to come down here. And I don't want to do this 5 start one. I want to do the one that's down here. It says mod 5 Marshall demo. I'm going to connect into that one. And I want to bring this down just a little bit so we can see the whole thing that we're working on. Okay. Now, so it's deploying. Okay. And I want to make sure I mash this button, enable auto deploy. And I want to grab it right now. Deploy the branch. Okay. So if I come up here to activity, it should be building just fine. Now, it does not have the database connected, and none of the stuff should work because there should be no tables in there that works, right? So if we come in here, we open it up, we're still, at the end of the day, we still don't have our database information put in here. And in our blueprint, we only have samples. And these tables, like the sample table, doesn't exist. Okay, so the whole thing's going to kind of fail out. But the good thing about this demo is in the templates, I added samples in here, and this samples actually has a modal. So this has the modal example for you guys to go off of if you want to do the modal example. Okay. All right. So we have all that. We're going to come over here. We'll open the app, and of course it fails out. Remember, if you want to figure out why it fails out, we can just go to more, view the logs, and it's going to tell us right here we can't find the actual server to connect into, which is perfectly fine. Okay. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started on creating our servers. So we're going to open up Workbench. Okay. Here is Workbench. All right. And inside our Workbench, let's see if we can drag this over a little bit so we can get that. Okay. Here's our Workbench. Inside our Workbench, we're going to create a new connection. And we're going to grab that connection and put it right here. And you're going to make sure that there's no spaces. Okay, that's good. Come over here, grab our username, our password, and our database. And I'm just going to come up here and call it mod5 demo. Of course, I test the connection. Click OK. Click OK. And now I have my mod5 demo. And let me just make this so we can all see it within the screen. That's great. Bring it over. And there's our mod5 demo. I'm opening that up. Good. So in here, we want to have, for our demo, we're going to have 3 tables this time. Okay. All right. The first table we're going to have is an accounts table. Okay, so I'm going to create a table, accounts, and then I'm going to come down here, and we're going to call it account ID, primary key, and not null, and auto increment, and it's just going to have an account name. Varchar's fine, and click apply. That's our first one. Okay. Let's bring this down a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. Okay. Now we're going to create a new table. The next table is going to be called transactions. Okay. And inside that transactions, we're going to have a transaction singular ID. Okay. And primary key AI. It's also going to have a date. So we'll go, we'll just go transaction date. Okay. And that should be a date. There's actually an item called date. And then we're going to have quantity. And that should be a float. And then we're going to have price paid. I think you can also call that cost. But that's going to be a float. Oh, you know what? We're going to do a decimal. Decimal, and we'll do like 10.4. Okay, 10.4 is 10 total digits with 4 decimal places. We'll do the same thing up here for this one. Decimal, 10.4, kind of like that. And then we're going to come down and do a ticker ID, and that's an int. And we're going to do a account ID, and that's an int. All right. We click apply, and that table is built. Okay. So we have our 2 tables and transactions accounts. Good. Make sure everything's spelled right. Okay. Next, we're going to create a tickers. Okay. And it is ticker ID, and that's a primary key. Okay. And we're going to call it ticker symbol. And we are going to call it current price. And that is going to be a decimal 10.4. All right. So we have all of that. We click apply. Click apply. Now, This one does not have any foreign keys in it. Okay, so we can close that. Okay, I'm on now. All right, transactions has 2 foreign keys in it. Okay, so we want to create the foreign keys. So the first foreign key is going to be the ticker foreign key. Okay, and the reference table for that is going to be tickers, and it's going to reference the ticker and the ticker. Okay, the next foreign key is going to be the accounts foreign key. Reference for that is going to be the account, and we're going to say account ID and account ID. Okay, now we want to make sure that we also check the cascade update, cascade delete. Okay, and then we come back up here and we do the same thing, cascade update, cascade delete. Okay, we click apply, and our database has now been written. Now, what is it we're supposed to do next? Remember, we need to copy down all of these, the schema for each of these, okay, and put it over here. So let's do that real quick. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, like so. And I'm going to grab our notepad that I just had here, and make that a little bit smaller here. I'm going to click on accounts, and I'm just going to copy from table. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to paste that in. Then I'm going to do tickers. I'm going to copy those in like so. And then I'm going to copy in transactions and copy that in like so. All right. And then we're going to say, actually, what I'm going to do is probably put foreign key and foreign key just like that so that it knows. All right. I'm going to close my MySQL Workbench, and I'm going to open up my ChatGPT. All right, I got my ChatGPT open. I'm going to put it over here so we can see it. Oh, that's too big. Let's put it right down like so. Okay. All right, we have ChatGPT open. Okay, and I'm going to take my entire tables. I'm going to be like, create a DBML. And I'm just going to paste it in. Everything that I just put in that notepad document, I just pasted it right in. And it didn't like that very much. There we go. Click enter. Here's your DBML. All right, and then it's going to add those 2 foreign keys. Everything's there. It all looks right. All the names are right. Okay, click copy code. And now I'm going to go back to my PyCharm. I'm going to open up my database, and I'm going to store it. This is just a storage. I'm just going to store it right in here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to close that. I don't need my database open. All right, but now we need to go up to our blueprints, and we're going to start working on this. And that is going to be, all right, that's going to be, we're going to do that right now. Even though we're at 13 minutes, we're just going to keep on going and just do it. Okay, so first thing I want to do, actually, it's probably not going to be that hard. I'm just going to right click here and say new Python file, and I want one for accounts. Okay, and I'm just going to click this don't ask again and add, so it should turn green. I'm going to make a new one called Python file called transactions. And I'm going to make one more new Python file, and I'm going to call that one tickers. Okay, so I have my 3 new ones. I'm going to open up my samples. I'm going to copy that whole thing. I'm going to go back to my chat. Okay, and in my chat, using Voro with Canvas, I'm just going to tell it, using the data structure I just provided and the following blueprint example, make a blueprint for accounts.py. And I got too many C's. All right, colon, paste, enter. All right, now it's gonna pop here, and it's gonna build me a blueprint based off of that sample. That's kind of the benefit of having the sample in there, is that you can it will give you all that stuff. Okay, so this one's actually pretty easy. Okay, so I'm gonna copy the code. I'm gonna go back to my PyCharm, and I'm gonna open up accounts, and I'm gonna paste it in. Okay, I'm gonna come up here. Everything looks good. Now I just have to go back to it and tell it, okay, that was perfect. Now do one for transactions.py. I really think ChatGPT likes it better when you tell it how good a job it does. Okay, so be nice to Chat. All right, so it's got everything it needs. Okay. All right, so we're going to copy that code and we're going to paste it right in. So we're going to go to transactions, paste it in. Okay, and then we're going to do another one for tickers. So again, tell it was great. So I'm going to close that down and say, great job. Now do tickers.py. And I'm trying to keep it simple. Like, I'm not trying to write a whole bunch of extra stuff. And it knows. Okay. So it's making the one for tickers. All right. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to PyCharm. I'm going to paste it in. Okay. Now, at this point, I can remove my samples. Okay. So I can come over here. I can right click and I can delete samples. Okay. Now, I want to go to my base file. Okay. So base file. And I'm going to copy the whole thing. Okay. And I'm going to go back to my chat. I'm going to tell it, I'm going to close this and say, I need to update my base.html file with the new routes. I want my app to be called, let's just call it Brian's Portfolio. Okay. And I'm just going to paste in my whole base file. And let's watch what it does. So it should grab. Now, it did leave tickers up here, blueprint. What's going to happen is it just overrode my tickers blueprint, which I'm going to probably need it to be back the way it was. But look what it did. It actually changed out samples, sample, accounts, transactions, tickers. I don't need samples anymore. Okay. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say, I didn't want you to edit my tickers blueprint. Can you revert that back? Okay, so it's taking us back to the tickers blueprint. We don't want it to mess with that because we're going to need that in the future. Okay, so I'm going to close that and say, now use the editor, a new editor, to update the base.html file. Go ahead. Well, we'll just say that. And you know what? I'm just going to paste in the base.html file again, and hopefully it will just, yep. So it did. So it made a new base.html file little thing, and it did it. But look, it still left samples there. Okay. So now this is the cool part with having it open like this. You can just say, remove the samples link, and it will just go through and just boom, delete it. Okay. Now, what's interesting is it also added Brian's Portfolio up here in the title, and Brian's Portfolio here as the navbar brand. Okay. So I'm going to copy that code. Looks awesome. I'm going to go back to my PyCharm. I'm going to, in my base, I'm just going to replace the whole thing there. Okay. So that's done. Now, the last one I need to do is my templates for those three things: accounts, transactions, and tickers. Okay. And if we go to accounts, they actually called it accounts.html. So we got to make sure we do that. This one's called transactions.html, and this one is called tickers.html. So I'm going to right click over here, new template, new HTML file, tickers.html. I'm going to do that one again. Right click, new HTML file. And we're going to go transactions.html. And then the last one we're going to do is new HTML file, accounts.html. Okay. Now, if I go into my samples.html, copy all that code, I can go back to my chat now that I have my sample, and I can close this, and I can tell it, create a new accounts.html with modals based off this samples.html template. I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to hit enter. And it should pop a new one. Yep, there's accounts, HTML with modals. Okay, and it still knows all the stuff that we called it up here. Okay, it knows that it called it all accounts. It knows everything it knows. Okay, and it's going through and it's building it all with the modals. So I'm going to click copy that code. I'm going to go back over to PyCharm, and I'm going to open up accounts and paste it in. Okay, now it's pretty easy. I don't have to do a lot more pasting. I'm just going to say, create a new one for tickers.html. Okay, and we're checking to see if it's building the modals. So yes, it added the modal right here. Okay, so that's a good thing. So it's going to finish up this one for the modals. All right, so we can copy that, and then we're going to go back to our PyCharm, go into tickers. All right, so we'll open up tickers, select all, and just replace everything in there. Okay, and now I'm going to start closing these down because it's starting to get kind of, okay. And I still have one more to do. Okay, I have the transactions left. Okay, and you can tell it's not extended off the base or anything. Okay, so I'm going to go back to chat. I'm going to say, this is amazing. Can you do one more new one for transactions.html? All right, so it's almost done with that one as well. Oh, I didn't like that. Add transaction modals down here at the bottom. Delete, edit. I usually keep mine at the top, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter where they are because it's going to be called. So anyway, we'll copy it and put it in here, paste. All right. Now, if I come over here and look, I can get rid of samples. I can delete that one. All right. And the next and last step, before we forget, we want to go into our init and we want to register all of our blueprints. Okay. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say from accounts, okay, import accounts, okay, and now it should do, we don't need runners, but it should be from app.blueprints.tickers, import tickers, and let me just come down here and fix this one because it keeps trying to tell me runners, so we'll call this one accounts. Okay, come over here and it will fix for tickers, and we can go from, and it's trying to do auth. We don't want that. Blueprints dot transactions, import transactions, and then come down here and register it. Okay, so we registered all of those, and now we have the last thing we need to do is come into here to our DB Connect, and we need to take our information from here and put it right into there. So you want to go back into your Heroku, copy, and put everything you need back into your DB Connect, okay? Because it's going to fail out if you don't. So I'm going to take username and put that here, and password, and put that right here, and database, and put that right here. Okay. Now we're going to take this whole thing, select them all, and we're going to call it first time upload with everything. Okay. All right. And we're going to commit and push, and it's going to start putting everything out there. Okay. So we're going to come back to here. We can close our chat. We're going to come back to our Heroku, and we're going to see how it's working now. Okay. So, we don't need that database open anymore. We can come back over to activity, and it should start to be building as we just sent it back up. It should start to build. So we'll give it just a second, and we'll see how it does. All right, it's doing the pip install, grabbing everything out of that requirements document, and it's starting to put everything up. And now it says it's done. So let's go ahead and look at it. All right, so it opened up. In our accounts, let's add a new account. So that was really weird. Okay, it took me a second to figure that out. Okay, so apparently in my base file, I was using Bootstrap 4. Okay, and in my transaction files, it was trying to write it in Bootstrap 5. Okay, which they use two different data structures. Okay, so when I went to run my application, the modals weren't popping. Okay, one of the reasons why modals are a little bit tricky. So I asked a couple questions. One of the questions was, do modals still work in Bootstrap 5? And it says absolutely. Modals have gotten even more important. Okay, so that's a good thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our adjustments. I'm going to show you how I did it in what I chatted for my prompt. Okay. All right. So I started by asking, so we'll go to the very, very top. I said adjust, and I said a brand new chat. Adjust the space file to move up to Bootstrap 5. That's all I did. So I took it, and you'll notice right here, it was Bootstrap 4, and down here it has jQuery. So when it adjusted it, okay, so here's our adjustment. When it adjusted it, it moved it to Bootstrap 5. It changed some of the way the tags were, and it no longer uses jQuery. Kind of cool. Okay. Then I said adjust. Okay. So I said, now adjust this transactions HTML file to work with the base HTML file and Bootstrap 5. And I pasted the whole thing down, and it gave me a brand new transactions file. I did that 3 times with all of them, and it made them into Bootstrap 5. So let's test and see if it worked. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to click this. All right, so we have it working. So first thing we do is go to accounts. We're going to add a new account, and let's just say you have an account at Wells Fargo. Okay, click add. Okay, we have an account. Now we're going to go to tickers, and we're going to add a new ticker. Let's just say the ticker symbol is Microsoft. Current price for Microsoft. Let's just go take a look at it. $412.87. Okay, add the current price. Okay, let's add another ticker. Let's do USD Bitcoin. I think it's just BTC. Let's not do Bitcoin. Let's do, yeah. Holy cow. I need to stop recording and go sell some Bitcoin real quick. UTC, BTC is up to 97,000. It's up 4% today. Man, that's awesome. All right. Very good. What a great day. Okay. Now we need to make a transaction. If I come over here, I can add a transaction. Now, what's my ticker? What's my account? Okay. That's the problem. Okay. So I can do my quantity, price paid, ticker, and account. We need to fix that. Okay. So we need to have those be drop downs. Okay. But we know this works. Okay. So we have our accounts. We don't have our transactions, but we have our tickers. Okay, so now we need to go and adjust our transactions for drop downs. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to grab my, we're going to grab our transactions.py. I'm going to grab the whole thing. Okay, and I'm going to go back out to chat and I'm going to tell it. So let's come down here and make this so we could see it, so everybody can put it in the video. Okay, and we're going to say adjust this transactions.py so that the ticker symbol and account name are loaded into the transactions.html page so we can use them for the drop downs in the modals for add and update. And I'm going to paste the whole thing in so it knows it. I'm going to hit enter and it should give me Ticker's Bootstrap 5, but it's going to adjust it. It's calling it Ticker's Bootstrap 5. I don't care. We'll be fine. We'll keep going. So here, okay, it's inserting into, and it's grabbing ticker ID. Okay. Notice that we're still getting ticker ID and account ID instead of ticker name and account name. That's a good thing. Okay. It's going to put ticker ID and account ID in, but because they're related, that's what we need. But it's going to display the actual name. And so here on the first one, it's going to display the account name and the ticker symbol. Okay. But then okay, so that's update. This is select all from, okay. And that's the transactions. Good. And then, okay, that's good. Select from all tickers for the updates, doing all that. And because we're using a modal, none of this is going to matter. I should have told it that, but that's okay. Actually, let's tell it that. We are using a modal for update. There is not a update transactions.html page. Let's see if it will adjust it. So this right here should all go away. It did. It deleted the whole thing. It got rid of. It just made just the post method, and it got rid of the if statement, and it just does it automatically, which is awesome. Okay. Now we need to say. Oh, let's just ask it. Isn't there supposed to be a join in the first route? If we want to display the bank name or the account name and ticker symbol in the transaction table. And it should adjust that. So down here, it just did the join. Okay. And it sends it all in as all transactions. So now we're getting the ticker symbol and the account name to go out to and render this transactions HTML table. Okay. Now we can come back to our PyCharm and tell it. Oh, actually, let's grab that one and update it real quick. So we'll grab all that code and go back here to PyCharm and make sure we're in the right thing, paste it in. Okay, that's all good code. Now we just take our whole transactions HTML file and we go and tell it, now adjust the transactions.html page to work with the blueprint. And we can paste that right in. And it's going to just, I know it just keeps overriding the one that we had there. That's fine. Because we're going to just move on from this. But it's going out there now, and it's going to show us the ticker symbol and the account name. And it should also put them into drop downs. When we do, this is for the ad. And there's the ticker symbol, and it grabs all the tickers and loads it in for ad. That's good. And now here on the one that is edit, it comes down and here's all the ticker symbols, and it sets the first one, and then it adds the others. So let's copy that. Now this all looks just fine. It did everything we needed it. So copy, paste, and let's go back out and look at it again. So in transactions, if we want to add a transaction, we can pick today's date, and we can pick our quantity. Let's buy 4 of them. And the price we paid is, let's just say it's their 417. Let's say we paid 350 and of Microsoft, and it's for Wells Fargo. Add that transaction. So they're in there. Okay. Now, this is our application. It kind of works. Okay. So we have, this is like a really good base application, and I think this is a good place for us to stop and get ready to move on to lesson number 2.